Dear Twin Flame souls out there, welcome to the Twin Flame Awakening podcast, and today is an episode number 41. In today's episode, we have another guest host who shared her story with me, and I will start this podcast by crediting you, my Divine Feminine, the one who has entered into this journey, has challenged herself or himself, and I have something to say about that as well. Also, summer is about to end and we are coming into the autumn, fall. So things are going to slow down a little bit. It's going to get a little softer and little maybe like the time is going to be a little slower until in terms of twin flames. I'm not talking in terms of work, in terms of 3D life. I'm talking of the processes. Right now is a perfect time for you to go within and to connect with the Mother Earth or with yourself. If you need any guidance, twinflameawakeningjourney.com and how to do that. If you're new here and you have never heard a story from another twin flame, then I'm just going to tell you that in this episode I'm going to share about someone else's story. How did it happen? What did happen, and so on and so on. If you wish to share your story, is twinflameawakeningjourney@gmail.com. What are the benefits of hearing a story from somebody else or sharing your own story? There are actually two very powerful benefits. One of the things is that it will bring you closer to realization that yes, I've met the other part of my soul. I am more powerful than I ever thought I was, or that this connection is actually real. And second of thing, it brings you this liberation, especially when you share your own story. That's why when you're having a consultation calls with me, it brings you the clarity, it brings you this feeling that, wow, I'm not alone. This is actually happening, and it gives you this power of realizing I'm not alone in this journey. Twin flames are real. I know that for me it took for a very long time to accept that journey, to accept that twin flames exist, that we have the same soul happens to live in two different bodies and happens to have two very different 3D lifestyles. And the moment we come together, it's like shaking you up and you don't know how no longer to leave. Here is something I'd like to say to each one of you, my dear divine feminines who are listening. It's very unlikely that divine masculines are listening because they are still in a way of denying this, what happened to them. But those who are here, and whichever way you are here today, I'd like to say that give yourself a huge credit. Stop blaming yourself. Stop feeling that there were so many things happening that you didn't do this, or you should have done this, or you should have gone faster there, or anything. Take a moment to give yourself a credit. A credit to realize that within this short period of time, okay, for some of us it's longer, but let's say the short period of time, you've learned so much more. I did a Reiki another day, and I'm going to actually talk about it because that can be useful for somebody else as well. Just because if you're wondering if you are on your twin flame journey, how is it going and so on. So I'll share my story, I think now, not at the end. Or actually, I keep my Reiki story at the end because it's a personal story. So I don't know if everyone want to hear my Reiki stories, but it's including my twin flame. Anyways, so what is happening in a way of why you have to crave credit? And this is just one part of my Reiki story, but I'm going to tell you. My guides were telling me for quite some time that you need to go into Reiki. You need to go and have a Reiki session because there is no use of you when you are so empty. So the past, I would say, I don't know, let's say from 4 months or 5 months, I've been taking the calls. I've been doing a lot of energy work. And even though I know how to let go of your energy, even though I am aware of my capabilities, that's why I take only 2 calls per day. So if you're wondering how fast you can book and so on, book it quickly because these 2 times per day. We're going very quickly. And it's not because I don't want to hear your story and I don't want to guide you. It's the fact that I need to store my energy, as not everyone's energy is very well aligned, especially when there are drugs involved, alcohol involved, any kind of medications involved. I observe them and I need to release them energetically. So now it's not that I'm getting high. It's not like this. It's what happens to you energetically when you are consuming any of these kind of things. So when I enter to your energy, I receive it as well. Anyways, I did my Reiki. I followed my guides, and I'll tell you a funny story. I know my guides were telling to me to go to Reiki, and I was Googling in my area if there is any kind of Reiki, like master or something like this. And pretty much like, I did, I think 2-3 times and nothing really came up. And then one day I just literally, this woman had no website. Here is very popular that they have Facebook pages. So there were no Facebook page, there was no Instagram, there was nothing. There was just a number, and it was the first one that popped up. And I'm like, I'm going to text her. I had no idea, like there were no reviews, there was nothing. Like, okay, there were a little bit reviews, but there isn't like that kind of thing. Is it a legit thing? If it's, it's going to happen. But I just trust, I surrendered and I trust. I said, if it has to be, it has to be. I text her, and the next day I was at the Reiki session. And I told her the thing, and I told her about twin flames. And then she looked at me, and we had a long conversation, pretty long conversation. And she told me one thing is that, because I am very hard on myself, I'm not going to lie here. If I don't do well, if I feel I let somebody down, like the same, if I don't reply on your emails, I'm very hard on myself of the fact of taking the burden that, these people need me, they need my things and that. And she said to me 2 really wise things. She said to me, your people need you when you are operating on your highest energy, not when you are stressing out when and how you're going to reply for them. The second thing is, give yourself a credit. Within this year, like for me, it's been over a year, not year, in that terms, a year when I accepted that this is a twin flame journey. And prior to that, I didn't accept it. I thought it's a madness. I didn't believe in this. I was always hoping that this is gonna stop and it's no longer there and it's gonna go away from me, and how long it's gonna possibly be, And so let's say a year now. But within this year, I've learned so much about the language of the universe, the energy, the chakra system, opening up, changing my energy, trusting the channeling. I mean, there has been a lot that has happened with 1 year. And I believe it's the same with you. But how much credit we have given to us that we have now learned the language of the universe. Think of yourself, if you go to school, how long it takes you to learn something. How long? For example, in order to master, let's say, a language in a way of, not the way I speak with mistakes, but, like properly, it takes about good 10 years where you learn the ins and outs of the language. But now, all of a sudden, you have this new reality. And in this new reality, in this 5D, nothing makes sense no longer. It's completely different. Another thing is, what you have to be very aware, the moment you learn a new skill, the moment you learn a new set of understanding, and it's an ongoing, because it's the school of the universe. It's the same like we are going to school. For example, you first learn your ABCs, but then you need to know how, let's say the first test will be write down the whole alphabet. You're able to do so. From the alphabet, you will learn how to make sentences. So it's the next test. And it's the same in the universe and the same in the twin flames. Like you have consistency, like constantly challenges. Now it depends how well you prepared yourself into that. How well you are able to understand the energies. That energy is the outcome. So the same is, let's say, if we talk of the 3D realization of learning things, what is the outcome? the knowledge, how much work you put into in order to get the grade you deserved. Universe does the same thing for us. Is it coming easy? No. And that's why my programs, my way of teaching is to understand your energy, to let go of the blocks, let go of everything. Because if you are a twin flame, you are a double that is a normal soul. So which means you're manifesting faster, but your fears manifest faster. Your things that are starting to fall apart in your life will happen faster if you are in these fears. You can get sick faster. You can have everything because apparently it's two different human beings who happen to have the same soul frequency, same soul source, and you feel them. So it's a madness. It's a complete madness. I'm not going to tell you here that it's a walk in the park. It's something I do not wish somehow to anybody, because like another day, my twin has been going through a really hard time, and I make a separate episode about it, where if our twin flames start to wake up, how hard it is on us as well. And it's extremely difficult. In my opinion, it's harder than it was mine, because in mine, I was able to release it inside of me, but I can't release it inside of him. I can only activate. But if he's holding it back, for example, let's think if your twin flame is the one who takes drugs, because I know many of them do, and they have to face their fears, their ego, their everything, and instead of doing that, they go and take drugs. So it's like an ongoing loop. I can activate it for my twin flame. I say, well, listen, activate this feeling, this emotion, let it go, cry out, scream out, do what it works for you. And it chooses to take something to numb it. And then we're back again. But of course, at one point, this numbing will no longer work. Anyways, I just really, really wanted to tell each one of you who are listening, you've been through crap. You have a new reality. You're no longer the same person, far away from being the same person. I can't even recognize myself in certain ways, and it's not in a bad way. It's not that I was previously bad. It's the way I talk. It's the way I see things. I can say that last 3 weeks were so heavy on me. They were so heavy. That's why I had to go and have a Reiki session, because my Reiki teacher, she also said to me that the burden you are carrying on your shoulders is so heavy. Why you're doing this to yourself? Let it go. Since then, you can see everything is flowing. Although I'm going to say one more thing, and I want to already say a huge thank you for those who on my previous episode heard that I am fundraising some money for the new computer, the computer only for this project. As I have other, but it's just because it includes other files and work. In some reasons, it simply doesn't want to work. Right now, I started the podcast and it just froze for no reason. And then I'm like, okay, I understand. These two technologies, they are like, well, this information is not for us. Choose the one that is used to get at it will be the baby. So I want to say that huge thank you for those who have donated through PayPal already. You'll be definitely rewarded at one point. I already have some ideas. You can donate $1 or $2. It doesn't really matter what is the sum of it. The faster I get it, the better it is, of course. And I'll make sure that this will be compensated at the point where I have a computer for this, that I can devote my time, my energy, and everything into that. So anyways, I wanted to say that the PayPal link is in the bio, and those who have done it, you are absolutely amazing. I actually thought nobody would do it because it's a very new thing for me to say these kind of things. I've been always this independent woman who is trying to figure out everything on her own, never asked for help, and so on. I think many of you can relate to this. And so this is also another thing for me to go out of my comfort zone and say that It's a collective energy, and that's what my guides were telling to me. And again, I know that many of you have a lot of financial issues, so I'm never asking anything from you. It's not something I'm just saying out there. I'm just saying that I could do a lot more if I would just get a separate machine that is aligning with the twin flame energy, because I can see that both of my computers, they simply just either, I can do any kind of other project and they're fine. As soon as I do my twin flame, they freeze, they shut down. I mean, they do everything. And I'm like, how is it possible? Anyways, it's a bit funny story. And so today's episode, we have a guest post. And at the end of this, I will tell you my Reiki story and how my twin flame came over there as well. So you can stay until the end. I hope you enjoy it. And today's guest post, actually, because many of you have been listening to my podcast and they're like, I wonder what is her name? She never says her name. What is her name? So on and so on. You know, I never say my name because it doesn't matter. If your soul aligns with my soul, then call me whatever you feel like. Whatever goes well. You can, of course, see me on Patreon, and on Patreon you can figure it out very quickly. Those who wish to support over there as well. I just keep on feeling that I'm asking for support for everything, but actually, no, I'm asking more to connect with me. It's not... for me, I'm so glad that I met you all. And so I think I'm a bit excited today. So bear with me. Anyways, she is a woman who has the same name like me. And when I received her email with the twin flame story, I was like, oh, wow, what a coincidence. We happen to have the same name. And she said, I've never met somebody with this name. Even though I pronounce it differently just to make it easier. Anyways, I'm not going to say her name, but I'm going to say, I think, where she lives and how old is she. So, hello, my beautiful soul. I am 42 years old and living in Austria. I've come across your YouTube channel 2 days ago and have watched a few of your videos since then, and now I had a feeling to write you my story. Because you said in your videos that this is one of the options to get in contact with you. Absolutely. Always when you feel, even after hearing that story, get in touch with me and share your story with me. As this gives you the liberation. This gives you this feeling that, oh my, this journey is real. I am the twin flame. I am part of that. First of all, I would like to tell you a little bit about me and my other self. I was born on March 4th, 1981. And Matthias, my twin flame, was born 12 days later on March 16, 1981. In the same hospital. At the age of 10, we went to school together in the same class for 2 years. And we were at the same college for 6 more years, but not really in contact. Then our path separated as I went to university studying medicine and psychology, and he was in the military. I have had 3 worldly relationships, but never got married and never had children. He got married 15 years ago, but got divorced 1 year later and never had children, just like me. And he also had 2 more short relationships, but all the women betrayed him and left him. About 12 years ago, I met him at the doctor's office. We talked a little bit, and that was it. My last relationship ended 10 years ago through the death of my boyfriend's dad. And at that time, my spiritual awakening began. I did a Reiki course. What are the odds? I'm sorry to stop here. What are the odds? I haven't read that story yet. I never read them in prior. I let go over with eyes to see that if I have enough information, but I never read. In today's episode, I start with Reiki. And here we have a Reiki person. I mean, talking about synchronicities and coincidences. Anyways, a 1 year long prana healing diploma course and some other things. I read a lot of books about all of that. 6 years ago, I met my twin flame's best friend, who told me to contact Matthias, but I wasn't ready. I never forgot about him, but I thought he was married and not interested in me. 4 years ago, on July 19, 2019, after a terrible year in very bad health conditions, only weight was 60 pounds, my heart stopped beating and my body had a multi-organ failure. I have been in an artificial coma for 1 month, in intensive care for 2 months, and had to learn everything all over again. To talk, eat, drink, walk, and so on. It was a long way to recovery, and I still have a lot of health issues because all my organs got damaged. I was raised in a Christian household, but I was never really a religious person. But I had a personal relationship with God, and I had a near-death experience on July 19 when that happened. It was the most incredible and magical experience ever. I've seen the white light, and God told me that I'm a pure divine love. After my big recovery, COVID came, and I knew from the beginning that something was wrong. I went down the rabbit hole. Nothing made sense anymore. I knew that everything I've learned was a lie. I got to know a lot more beautiful souls on YouTube and Telegram with a lot of wisdom. God and my soul were guiding me. I've been at home living with my parents since 2019 because I'm still not able to work, and I'm not going to back up onto the matrix again. This is a very big topic which I really would like to dive into one day. I'm just going to say to you is another tip for twin flames and overall in the spiritual world. You need to get to the point where you're willing to unlearn things, and that's where the power comes in. You need to be unafraid of doing something that is not programmed inside of you. Regardless, we all are programmed from one way or another. Even in spirituality, there are certain kind of programs. I'm not saying because I know that, but you need in this spirituality, in this twin flame thing especially, you need to be so open for the possibilities that you had no idea that existed, but you need to be open to I wouldn't say let go of them, but open to receive. For example, and I know it sounds crazy, but let's say all your life you have said, let's say pink is pink. All your life you know how it's pink. But now you start to learn that maybe this pink is a light red. And so you're starting to program your mind. Instead of saying pink, you're going to say light red. And try to learn a new program into your system. So it's the same. It's a very simple example, but it's everything. You need to be as open as possible to learn. I have a lot to say in terms of the health, whatever happens, everything, because I'm going to tell you something. The more we learn about spirituality, the more we become one with the God, with the source, with the universe, the bigger challenges we will get. Will it get easy? No. But the God knows that you'll learn that. You know that. Now trust me. Trust this knowledge. Trust what you know. Those who know Joe Dispenza, for example, had a massive bicycle accident, motorcycle accident where he was not supposed to walk. And today he does. And what the work he's doing, is it easy? No, but he's been challenged and he takes from the God and gives back to the society. There are a lot of things, and it's the same with me. I'm going to say one other thing, which I think we have a misconception about it, is that when we're going to come to the twin flame union, we're going to be with our twin flame and, this love, this energy, this everything. It's not the end. And that's why there isn't such a thing like twin flames physically in union. Union is with energy, where it's in balance. The yin-yang is in balance. If it's out of the balance, you're realizing how things don't go smoothly. So in a way, I'm trying to give an overview. I have to go really deep inside of that. And I just want to say, if the universe is challenging you right now, the universe knows that you can overcome it. Okay. 5 years ago, one day, God told me to write down everything I want in my future boyfriend. And I did that. And I never thought about it again. Last year, at the beginning of the year, I told God that I'm open and ready to receive a new man in my life. I wasn't searching because I trusted God that He would bring me the best man. And then on June 29th, 2020, there was a big flood and thunderstorm near my hometown, and I knew that Matthias was living there. And I had a feeling and the inner calling to contact him on Facebook. If everything was okay, with him and in a huge American house, a house I always wanted to live in because I love America. I have been to California several times. I have a family there, and I also have been an au pair in New York. Oh wow. What a synchronicity. Another thing that she's been an au pair. We share the same name. I was an au pair in Switzerland when I first moved to Switzerland, and Switzerland is always my home. Oh my God, this is just blows my mind how many synchronicities we can have, and it just, I mean, I don't even know that person, but we happen to have a story. Anyways, I sent him a message, and he messaged me back and wanted to see me the next day. But God had other plans. We first met on July 12, and I had spent 5 incredible magical hours together. I immediately felt at home and had the feeling that I have known him my whole life. He stared at me and looked at me in my eyes the whole time, and at the end he kissed me. When I came home, I told my mom that I had met my twin and that I would marry him tomorrow if he would ask me. I never ever wanted to get married before that. On July 16th, he invited me to his house, and we had 4 more great hours together. He told me that I am the most beautiful woman he have ever met, and that I was something intense and special between us. He treated me like his girlfriend. Well, and then my twin flame journey began. He was still writing me on WhatsApp, but didn't want to see me. At that time, God told me about twin flames, and I started researching and watching tarot readings. Well, the next time I visited him at his house was on August 13. It was a very nice evening. He hugged me and kissed me and told me that I was too good for him. After that, we were still in contact, but I always texted him and he not always answered. He told me that he loves my messages, but it was sometimes too much and intense for him, and he's not always knew what to answer. During these 2 months, I had my Kundalini awakening with intense heartache, headache, 3 times the flu, and my sexual energy was driving me crazy, and also my emotions. I was a lot of the times very sad, crying, lonely, depressed, although I already had a dark night of the soul before my multi-organ failure, and this was another one. I've asked these questions many times before. Can you have more than one dark night of the soul? Yes, absolutely. There are different ways, and one of the things is when you haven't listened to God the first time, or the universe, whichever way you want to call it. I'm using normally universe, but you can use God, you can use spirit, you can use I don't know what. You can have it again and again and again. So I can see that God has played a role for her when the friend said you need to contact Matthew. She didn't. And there were most probably some of the lessons she didn't learn at the process. So the God is like, let's do it again. When we met again on October 28th and again on November 29th, which was the most intense and loving meeting ever, he told me that he didn't want a relationship because relationships were always difficult and dramatic, although I was very important to him and he liked me very much. That's what he told me. But he also said that I could have every man I wanted and that he didn't deserve an angel like me. After this last meeting, he went silent for days and then wrote that he could not give me what I deserve. Often with twin flames is another thing that there's a lot of self-worth and self-blame and not believing this divine energy and beauty, not believing in love, not believing in something so beautiful. I'm just going to bring a very unpopular opinion into here and I'd like you to think about it and take a moment to see what are your thoughts of it. You can, of course, leave a comment or share, whichever. You can email to me. We live in this world where we think we own somebody. When we get married, we think we own that person. This person owns us something, owns us to be kind to us, owns us to take care of us, owns us everything. But today I listened to one of the things and I was like, every marriage ends. Every marriage ends. In that terms that either it's divorce or it's a death. It will end. And we don't own another person to give us something. What we deserve and how do we live is also out of it. What I mean is that with twin flames, we often think we need to own them, that is own our relationship. That my twin flame has to be with me because we share the same soul. No? And I know now you'll be like, what do you mean? I want my twin flame back and everything. Your twin flame is already inside of you. And I'm just going to say another thing for you, which I heard the next podcast is coming up with that. The moment you let go of the control of any kind of status, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, you do this, you do that, boss, teacher, we let go of that control. And we go with the energy, we go with the flow, how it comes to us. You will see how many doors will start to open to you, and including with your twin flame. Your twin flame doesn't need to be with you in order to make you happy, in order to make you feel love, in order to give you this. It has to come from you. And that's what the universe is trying to tell you. That the moment you realize it's not about me owning somebody, it's me letting go, it's me trusting and surrendering, it's me being alive. And it's same, I see it more and more every day, more. And you would be asking me like, what if your husband is going to be with somebody else and everything like this? Well, I don't own him. He has a free will. Does a marriage has certain kind of rules? I would say yes. What goes around comes around. But I don't own him. And I don't own my twin flame either. I only can own my energy and the outcome. So why I'm saying this, because it's very unpopular opinion, and most probably I will get like, you will, unsubscribe, and you're like, oh, what are you talking about? Well, if you really want to be in a union with your twin flame, let go of the ownership. You don't own anybody. And you don't own this person. The more you're letting it go, the better, the easier, the fun it becomes. You become alive. You don't have expectations, because the moment you have an expectations, you will come across with disappointment. I had a good conversation. I hope actually I could get her into my podcast to talk about it. You know, when you make like plans that come out of nowhere. Let's say you get together with your friends, you say, let's go over there. No plans of a plan. You're just doing it like intuitively. You're having, oh, let's go there. There's going to be this. And let's just do it. And you have the best time ever. Like, and then you say, now we need to repeat that each year and do this. You'll do this again the next year, and it's not as good and it's not as fun. And it was okay, but there was this problem and that problem, because you're already now comparing to your previous experience. You now already had set yourself an expectation to be disappointed. And it's the same with your twin flame. You're expecting them to do certain things the way you want, and then you're already leading yourself up to being disappointed because it doesn't come the way you're supposed to. But what if you trust and surrender? You say, well, I'm going to do this way. I'm going to go have fun there. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then the magic happens. And you know how magic happens? When you are in a high frequency. It's beyond beautiful. And I can tell you all of this. I'm putting all of this information together to share, to do the workshop, to help you to realize how important is that. So let's go back to the story. In the meantime, I was still watching videos, found Kurt Johnson, and I knew at the time, I really knew it on our first time date, but the ego always kicked in and made me doubt everything, that he was my twin flame. Yes, same, Kurt was my first who I resonated with, because I liked the fact that he was very clear about the fact that this is not a love story, because for me, as a married woman, it was very difficult to accept that I fell in love with somebody who I don't know, don't have any connection with, and I am like madly in love with. In that terms, I thought it's a love, but now I see it's way beyond than love. I don't have a word for that in dictionary yet. It's a divine connection. It's a divine experience. And I would still say that the Kurt in that terms keeps off a lot of giving false hope. And I am the same. I don't want to give you false hope in that terms. I want to help you to get your higher self. You're serving your true purpose, letting go of the expectation, and I will guarantee you the magic will start to happen. But it takes time. On January 12th, 2023 was our next date, but it was different than before. He was thrilled, the loving kind of man, but he was a little bit distant. Then a big separation occurred. We were still on contact on WhatsApp, but he didn't respond that often. In March, I found Elizabeth and Joanne from Worlds of the Cup of Joe on YouTube and purchased their detox program, which I did for 30 days. And Matthias came back every single day with the beautiful, loving messages and pictures. And on May 13, I visited him at his house again. At that time, I was meditating a lot, reading books and watching videos and being in soul, being the consciousness that I am, and I was doing great. At this last meeting, he again told me that I'm very important to him, that he liked me a lot, that his heart is still closed because he didn't want to get hurt or left by a woman again. Before I left, he told me that I could come swim in his pool in June when his garden is finished for the summer. We had been in contact all June, but when I asked for a date, he didn't answer me. I know I've been a lot in the mind again, in the future, in the push energy, and not in the present moment. We keep on coming to the same. Be in a present moment. Don't have any expectations, because again, when we talk, I don't know about this detox program exactly. I just had another day a download where it said, the more you distance yourself from your twin flame, the closer you become. And I agree with that. We are in a contact and we talk, but another day I was like, I don't look at my phone as often no longer, and I don't have that sense anymore. And I realized the more I go distance, the closer he comes. So yes, the detox can work very well, but there are different ways of detox. And on July 4th, he sent me the last message. I'm sorry, I don't feel the connection that you're talking about. You're a wonderful woman and my best friend, but I don't see our connection as you do. And that was it. Since then, I haven't heard from him. I did the whole detox plan all over again. I started to feel him when I am in his soul and I'm bombarded with signs and synchronicities. I see his car, a Jaguar, or the animal all the time. His birthday, our dates, 11/11/11, 222, 333, 444, 999, blue butterflies, rainbows, his name. His name is in English gematria, which is 91, and our name together is 156, everywhere, all day long. We met again last year after 23 years, and our way back home he asked me if I knew the movie number 23. 23, and I am in gematria. The first day at his house, I left at 22:22 at night, and the last time I left 22:20 at night, and the Jaguars was driving in front of me. About 2 weeks ago, I made a huge shift and completely let go of him as a separate person. I know that I am him and he is me. I am always one forever. I released him and I trust my soul and God, that everything happens in divine timing and unfolds naturally. I'm continuing working on myself, aligning more and deeper into my soul. I'm whole and complete on my own. I have watched one question. I watched your communication telepathy video today. I don't have a problem always telling my truth because I don't care what others think of me. I'm always authentic and I always told him how I truly felt. He never talked a lot. I know that his heart and throat chakra are blocked. That's probably I don't feel him right now, and I don't get any messages in 5D or 3D. Do you have an advice for me? I'm sorry for this long story, but I don't have anyone to talk about it, and your voice really resonates with me. Thank you very much in advance. Lots of love and God's blessing. Greetings from Austria. What happens is when we close ourselves into ego mind, when we don't want to be in touch with our soul self, talking of our soul needs, soul feelings, soul everything, we become closed. And when we then try to do telepathic communication through meditation, it can become very difficult. I just spoke about this, I think, in my previous episode, where I said I tried to go into the soul's energy. I get pushed out, and I'm like, wow, that's some strong energy. Later on, of course, I figured out it's the fact that the ego is so much in presence that it's just simply holding it back. So that's why he also said to her that he doesn't feel this way, he doesn't want to continue this way, and so on and so on, because his ego came and started to protect him not to get hurt, because it was too good to be true. And when it's too good to be true, our mind starts to play tricks with us. What's going to happen next? Something bad is about to happen. You're going to get hurt. Prepare yourself. Do this. This is why we sabotage our future when we are not yet there. So most probably, if you do not get telepathically communication with your twin flame, is that they are very in their ego center. I'm just going to say an example. When you are in your ego, let's say you are in your ego, you want to be this perfect woman or perfect man, but I'm going to go with a woman right now because I am. You want to be this perfect woman and you are super hungry, for example. You're super hungry, but you want to show yourself that, you are the woman who is gracious, beautiful, thin, whatever. And you will not eat in front of other people even though you're starving. Because your ego tries to show that, oh, look at me. I can be like that. When your ego comes in, your ego blocks your soul because your soul is like, well, listen, you're actually hungry, eat it. Or, for example, you feel like your soul tells you, you need to go and ask help from them. You need to go and ask these people. And your ego go, no, I know how to protect myself. I know how to take care of myself. I don't need anybody in this world. Well, then you are in your ego, and as many soul messages we can come through, the ego blocks it. The ego blocks it, and ego blocks it. Anyways, that was today's story. I'm gonna go into my Reiki story quickly before we're gonna end. So anyone who is listening, I also recommend highly Reiki. I am a big supporter for the breath work, Reiki, sound healing, ayahuasca for those who feel the calling. I think all of these things help, and also sacral hearing, opening your chakras, which we can do through my current bookings and all of that, as this helps you tremendously. Anyways, I did my Reiki because my guides were asking me to do so. And also, if your guides are telling you that you need to contact me, then get in touch with me. That's how simple it is. It's twinflameawakeningjourney.com or twinflameawakeningjourney@gmail.com. If you feel that back in your head it keeps on saying you need to contact her, you need to, she's one piece of your puzzle, get in touch with her. Anyways, so the story keeps on going on for the fact that I'm going to do the Reiki. We have a nice conversation. I shared some part of it. I might get her onto the podcast one day. And then what happened was that we started the session. She did the session. I could see a lot of purple light, and I could also see my twin flame coming in. And I was just letting it. I didn't act at all. I just really surrendered. I let it be the way it is. I didn't think about it. I didn't have any of this. And the Reiki session was really powerful. She told me that my sacral chakra, my heart chakra, my crown chakra are so active. She said, wow, it's incredible. But then she also told me that the burden you're carrying on your shoulders needs to be lifted. You need to ask help from the people. You need to trust. You need to surrender. Yes, you are very self-disciplined. Yes, you know how to do things. But at the same time, it's the burden that is so heavy on you. So I totally agree. I'm very, very hard on myself. And that's why I've been also hard on myself on the twin flame. And now I realized, no, I need to actually give myself a credit that I have learned so much. Anyways, we did the whole session, and she told me that she saw immediately a very big man coming in, like a Viking type of a man, big beard, and immediately came in and was just next to me the whole time, observant, but next to me the whole time. And I told to my Reiki practitioner, I said, yeah, it's my father, because I know my whole life. So for me, I couldn't see my father because I am so used to that. I have this soul next to me, like my father. So it's like a reality for me. Like everybody who else is alive, let's say your mother, your husband, your kids, whatever. For me, it's been, because I lost my father in a very young age, I have always known that there is this soul or the energy or whatever. I never had a feeling that there isn't, and always I'm very, very strongly bonded. And she said, yeah, like he was very observant there, but the whole time there to make sure that I am safe. And then she said, but then another guy came in, much younger, explained the hair and the clothing and everything. And I'm like, yeah, I saw it too. And she was like, and I didn't say anything. I just simply didn't say that, oh, it's most probably, it was my twin flame, even though I told her a twin flame journey and stuff like that. But I didn't say anything. I didn't say how my twin flame looks or anything. And then I came home and I realized, he came because I was able to connect with his soul now, and he's been going through quite a hard time. So now I was the one who was helping, and he was saying like, okay, you're helping me. And so like he came in and he validated that, yes, this is what you need. This is important for you. Take care of your energies, take care of your balance. And he left. And my Reiki master said the same thing, that this young man came in, but then he left. Like he came, he was happy, and he left. At first I didn't really think of that it was my twin flame, to be honest. I tried to, like, because of the factor that my father is dead. So I took, okay, the soul, and then I started to think, who could be the other one as a soul who is, no longer with us? And then it like struck me at one point. It was like, oh my God, it was him. It was totally him. But this is what happens when we try to solve things with the mind. And so I came back and I was completely balanced. And she did my, like a very powerful crystal pendule thing. And she was like, oh my, your third eye chakra is like in another universe. And I was seeing a lot of purple during this time. And it was just funny that this room had no purple. It had all the other colors except the purple. And I kept on seeing the purple very strongly. And so my sacral chakra, my heart chakra, my throat chakra. So I was really in a flow. She said, you're very in a flow. The only issue is that you're taking too much burden on your shoulders. You're stepping into the masculine energy in terms of, let's say, if you need to fix something and so on. You don't allow this to happen. You don't allow the universe to give you the support, the universe to give you the things. You are more like doer. And I know that. I'm completely aware of that. So anyhow, the long story now short, that's how I saw my twin flame again, and it came me the confirmation. It was in my dreams last night. I know he's going through a very, very hard time, and that's why past 3 weeks, okay, apart from the fact that my computers are refusing to work with me and help me to get these podcasts out, there has been a lot of from my side that I'm just so empty that I had nothing to give. And I will talk about one of the episodes. So I have a couple of episodes that are coming up. If you're new here, or if you've been hearing some of my podcasts in prior, make sure to subscribe if you're interested of the following topics. The next episode that is coming up is coming with a guest. Very interesting how she has come to the union with her twin flame and how she sees the twin flame union, and she's very absolutely amazing. So it will be a good episode to listen. Then I have an episode coming up for me talking about the mistakes I made in twin flame journey. And then I will also talk what happens if the divine masculine is starting to awaken and starting to go through the dark night of the soul and so on. If you have any other topics you would like me to talk about, share about, give an information, I'm more than happy to do so. I just would like to say one more thing, which I just read on my phone, and I was like, I just have to say it. I know I asked from you if you can contribute into my new computer that could make me perfect and good podcast and new workshops and everything, because apparently these two, what I have, don't want to work with me. And I know many of you are financially struggling and all of this and so on and so on. And same with the Patreon. I know that for Patreon members, the group calls are for free and you can join and so on. I just want to say one thing. Every kind act is a currency. It's not about money and everything. I understand that money in a way helps us in 3D to function. I mean, we have to pay the bills. There's a system like that. There is, it's an exchange. But it's a kind act of exchange right now. There's a currency. But for me also, the currency is here. Every like, every comment, every subscribe, every kind act, even just writing me an email or just sending me a heart is a kind act as a currency that you value my time, you value my work. And if you don't have today something to give, just be kind, and just be kind to others as well. Like say, maybe your currency of kindness will come that somebody tonight doesn't have a meal to eat and you invite them over, or your kindness is in some other way. Let's say you are offering something for free, what you normally charge a lot. Whatever is the kind of kindness, make sure that this is also part of your daily routine. And if you worry about, I know many of you are worrying joining the Patreon because they don't have right now that money, and I can totally understand. For some people, $5.99 is a lot of money. Maybe it's their like lunch money or something like this. I'm not here to say what it means. What I'm just saying is that any kind of kind act you can do towards supporting this channel, liking, commenting, giving a support, is already amazing. So do not worry so much about the finances. I know I'm just the reason why I cannot make, for example, free calls, consultation calls, or free channeling calls. It's just for the fact that I will have the cost coming with that. So I don't want that I will become fake or give false information or go towards something else that I'm not aligning with in order to pay my bills. So it's just for that. But I just really, really, from deeply from my heart, I want to say that every kind act, whatever you're doing, liking, subscribing, donating for my computer will always go for the bigger purpose. All the links are in bio, so I'm just gonna go over what I've been talking about it today, so we have a group call on this Sunday, 24th of September. You can join through Patreon, those who are Patreon members. Now, if you are not a member and you would like to join, no one is gonna stop you. The reason of Patreon is that I can devote more of my time in order to not to work in a different project. So if you support, I have more time. It's just for that reason. But let's say you do not have the finances right now. Fine. Still, join my email list, which you can do at twinflameawakeningjourney.com. You'll be sent an invitation. You can join the first group call in that terms if you haven't been on it. And you can see if you want to support or you don't want to support, and it's all about your situation. Just please remember, I would really like you to know that, because I know that so many of you having financial difficulties. I know I've been there when everything fell apart for me. And even, let's say, paying $5 can be so much, and I totally get it. So just make sure that in order for you to get the higher self, take this courage to say, okay, I'm going to try this, I'm going to do this. Because that's why I'm sharing my information. So Patreon, yes, this Sunday you can join. On Monday we have another episode out with a guest, and the video version will be out on Patreon. It will come earlier for them, and then it will be out on Spotify and YouTube as usual. You can book your call if you have right now the finances to do so, and you feel like you need to let go of these energies. You need to start these energies to finally move around. It's twinflameawakeningjourney.com. There are different ways of choosing. You can have the first call, or you can have just talk, or the channeling. Reason the channeling is the most expensive because it's the most effective, and also like I put a lot of effort in energy-wise into that. It's just, even though we will have a call for 1 hour, I'll have half an hour the preparation, and about half an hour, 45 minutes later, a meditation and channeling and doing a lot of energy work. So for that reason, I always need to keep a space in between, and I can accept only 2 clients per day. So make sure, if you are really interested of that and you would like to see what's going to happen, book your session in prior, because as soon as I have 2 sessions, I block the calendar to make sure that I give the highest quality. Again, I would like to say that for me, this is my purpose. This is me helping you to release the blocks, to release this energy and make it flow. Is it gonna be the most pleasant journey? I'm not gonna lie, it's no, not at all, but just something I'd like to say. Anyways, these are the things I think for today, and I hope you enjoyed that episode. And just remember that this journey is hard. Learning the new language of the universe is hard, and the school of the universe can be challenging. But we are here for each other, and we watch out for each other. So give yourself a little credit today. Do something nice to yourself. Even you can book the call with me, and make sure to love yourself and give yourself a lot of care. Thank you for listening. Lots of love and light. I hope to see you soon here.
It's supposed to feel incredible. We have changed, but not that much. Guess our memories are catching up. You're my soul, my heart, my beautiful. You're my first, my last, my wonderful. And I just can't seem to get enough. It's because I love you most of all. We have changed, but not that much. Guess our memories are catching up.